Hello everyone. In today's tutorial we're going to look at Binance, and we're going to assume that you're new to Binance and have not yet used the platform. So first things first. Before you open an account with Binance, we strongly recommend that you create an email address that you will only use for your Binance account. So a suggestion could be to create a separate Gmail account or Outlook, Hotmail, whatever you want, as long as it's an email provider that allows you to use two-factor authentication. So you can Google them as well, say email providers with two-factor authentication, and then have a look what pops up there. So again, Gmail, Yahoo, Outlook, they all allow you to use two-factor authentication. What is two-factor authentication? It is essentially another protective layer that requires you to confirm a specific code that either comes to your smartphone or to another email address to validate that you are indeed the person trying to log into your email. So a good practice would be to create an email address that doesn't contain any obvious words like Binance or crypto, but just create an email like, I don't know, jack2501a@gmail.com. And then when you've created that email address, you link the recovery email to your main email account, and you enable two-factor authentication, for example, using the Google Authenticator app, which is available for Android and iOS. So this way that email account is relatively well secured, and you will need that email address quite a bit with Binance, because Binance asks you to validate a lot of the transactions through that email account. So once that's done and you've got your new email address that you will only use for Binance, let's go ahead to binance.com and create a new account. Make sure that you're only visiting www.binance.com or the US site. This tutorial is going to be about the international Binance platform. We click on register here in the top right, and then all you have to do is create your account by putting the email address you just created and assigning a password. I strongly recommend you use a password manager such as LastPass, which is free, at least in a basic version, which is good enough for our purposes. You can install LastPass into your browser, and it will create secure passwords that you don't have to remember. That whole vault is then protected by a master password, which, however, you do need to remember. So once you've created your account and you've put in a strong password, I would suggest at least 16 characters, uppercase, lowercase, numbers, special characters, the whole shebang. You can then confirm that you're over 18 in age and you create your account. You will then receive an email to your newly created Gmail account asking you to validate that the email address is correct. Once you've done that, you're ready to log in. Now, for security purposes, the email address in this page is blacked out, or actually whited out, as well as some of the personal details in this user account. We're only using this account for the demo of this tutorial and will afterwards deactivate it, but we still didn't want to show any personal information here. So this is Binance, and the first page you see is your dashboard with your balance, if you have any, and some account details. And we're going to go through some of the functionality of Binance in the next video. In this video, we're going to focus on funding your Binance account. So how do you get money into your Binance account? Well, there's a number of options. The first option, and the fastest for sure, is through credit card. The other option is through a third-party payment. So these are payment processors that take a percentage commission, and with the credit card you will also have a credit card processing fee. And that leads me already to my verdict on these payment methods. I would strongly advise against them because they are all extremely expensive and can cost you up to 10% of the amount you're trying to fund. So that's 10% you will then have to make up for again, which is challenging. And we don't want that. So what's a better option of doing this? Well, so far, the most cost-efficient option I have come across is using Coinbase. Coinbase is another crypto exchange, a little bit more regulated than Binance, still, you know, a crypto exchange in general, but you can create an account with these guys, and then you can deposit funds through a regular wire transfer. So they will give you an IBAN of a bank account. For European customers, it's usually in Estonia, and you wire the funds into that bank account. It's very nicely explained what you need to do, the special ID tag that you have to use in your wire transfer so that they can automatically assign the deposit to your account. And it takes usually 1 or 2 days to wire funds from a European bank into Coinbase. Coinbase has a relatively good reputation in the general crypto scene. It's been around for a long time. It's one of the big players. So between Coinbase and Binance, these are both big organizations that have a certain reputation in the market. That said, I would also recommend you create yourself a dedicated email address for Coinbase, similar to what we just said for Binance, just to keep things separate and to avoid access to one or the other platform in the event that your user data should be compromised. So let's assume you've created your account and you've been able to make a deposit into, let's say, a euro or a USD currency. You've made that wire transfer from your online banking account. 2 days have passed and you can now see the funds in your account. The next thing is we want to get these funds out of Coinbase and into Binance. So far, aside from possible fees by your own bank, we have not spent a penny. So if you deposit $1,000, for example, your balance in Coinbase should be $1,000. The next step is to go to Coinbase Pro. Now, Coinbase Pro is a trader version of Coinbase, so a little bit more professional. And the most noteworthy thing is that the fees are substantially lower than those of Coinbase itself, because the audience is different. Coinbase Pro is targeted more at the crowd that wants to actively trade currency, whereas the normal Coinbase is more of an end user platform that allows you to convert this, or is intended to convert currency once a week, or, you know, it's not really meant for trading. It's more of a little bank account or wallet, if you like. Now, Coinbase Pro is linked to Coinbase, so you should be able to log in, and it should already authenticate you because it sees that you're logged into Coinbase, and then it will bring you to a screen that doesn't look very dissimilar to this one here. Coinbase Pro is, as I said, a bit of a more professional trading platform, but all we need it for is to convert our deposit into Bitcoin. So the Bitcoin amount that we then get out of Coinbase Pro will transfer into our Binance account. We have to click deposit because we want to deposit funds into Coinbase Pro, and a window will appear allowing you to use the funds from your Coinbase account to deposit into Coinbase Pro. Once you've done that, you should have a balance here, let's say $1,000 for example. Now we want to buy crypto with $1,000. So we place a limit order, buy limit, and we put in our $1,000. And then we can see what we can get in terms of Bitcoin for those $1,000. And that price is essentially what we lock in with a limit order, contrary to a market order, which will just buy Bitcoin at whatever price is currently being traded. And that may be more or less favorable than what you actually want. So a good practice with crypto is always use limit orders. That's the only way that you know with certainty that you will get what you've asked for. So once you've inserted the $1,000, or you put here max, it'll buy the most Bitcoin you can at the funds you have right now. You place the order, and then that should be filled after a few minutes. And you'll see some notification here on the screen showing the open orders moving into the closed orders. And then we have our balance in Bitcoin. So you should see something like 0.01, and the USD balance should be 0, which means you've successfully converted the funds from dollars to Bitcoin. If you want to check out the fees, they're listed here at the top at the time of this video. Let's have a look. if you want to convert up to $10,000, there's a 0.5% fee on the trade or on the exchange. So that's something you need to bear in mind, but so far that is the most cost-efficient way that I have found. And if you found a better way of doing this, I'd be really appreciative if you could leave me a comment in the comment section below. So what do we do now? We've got our Coinbase account that we've depleted because all the funds went into Coinbase Pro. We've done our transaction in Coinbase Pro, and we now hold 0.1 Bitcoin, for example. Well, the next thing is we need to transfer those funds into Binance. And how do we do that? Let's go back to Binance. In Binance, I can deposit funds, and Binance is very versatile. It allows you to deposit a variety of cryptocurrencies into Binance, right? In this case, the default is usually BTC, and if it's not, make sure you select BTC as Bitcoin, and the network you're going to use is also BTC. Then you have this address here. This is my unique and personal Bitcoin address for this specific account that I'm using for this demo. So I will copy this address, and then when I go into Coinbase Pro, I will say withdraw, and I will select Bitcoin, and the address I'm going to withdraw to is the one I just copied into my clipboard. So with that, you're transferring the funds from Coinbase Pro into your Binance wallet. Now be extremely careful that you copy the exact Bitcoin address that is shown here. Any missing character or incorrect character will mean that your funds are most likely lost, and there's no way to undo that. So good practice is to select all these, hit Ctrl+C, copy this, then open your notepad, paste it in, double check that you've hit the first and the last characters and that everything in between looks correct, and then use this to copy into your Coinbase Pro withdrawal address. If you plan on doing this more often, you will see that there is an option to save this target address in Coinbase Pro, which you can do because this address will never change as long as you use this specific Binance account. So once you've completed that withdrawal process from Coinbase Pro, you've inserted the amount you want to transfer, let's assume the whole balance in Bitcoin, and you've pasted in the Bitcoin address from your Binance wallet, you can hit submit. Most likely it'll ask you to validate this through another email confirmation or even through two-factor authentication if you have that enabled. And shortly after, usually between 10 and 20 minutes, you should see the balance of your crypto account go up to whatever you deposited. Okay? And again, here, that amount should be exactly what you submitted. So if that is 0.02, it should be precisely the same. To my knowledge, there's no other fee, but that can change, and it may depend on the crypto coin that you're using as well. But technically, the only entity that takes a little chunk from this amount that you're wiring is Coinbase Pro. But again, it's very transparent between these two companies. When you transfer crypto between them, you will always know upfront how much money you will receive at the end. The only time when you will receive a big surprise is when you use the credit card payments or the third-party payment providers. In those cases, on Binance, it may say, oh, the cost is 2.5%, and then you end up paying nearly 10%, as has happened to us in the past when we tried out this service. So again, I would strongly recommend you don't use the fiat currency and payment method, because you see here, this allows you to use certain bank cards, and there's small fees, but there are other hidden fees usually behind the Binance responsibility or beyond the Binance responsibility. And that can quickly amount to a couple of percent that you then have to make up for by trading, which we can avoid through this Coinbase route. So I'm going to conclude the video here. We funded our Binance account with the most cost-efficient way that we're currently aware of, and we're ready to start exploring Binance in the next video. Thank you very much for watching.